am ready.
Okay.
All right, Kevin, good afternoon. On this episode, the theme of our conversation is going to be around the resilience or the resil or let me start over.
All right, no problem. Take two. Take your time.
The theme of our conversation is around the resilient leader within and all of the character traits that are within successful entrepreneurs. So to start off, for everyone who's listening, I did want to just create what a baseline definition of resilience is. And it's the capacity to adapt and bounce back, recover from adversity, challenges, and difficult situations. And it's the ability to withstand and effectively cope with stress, setbacks, unexpected obstacles, and emerge as a stronger, more capable individual as a result. And all of these factors happen inside of our personal lives and also inside of our professional lives, and it affects our psychological domains as well. And that's what I wanted to kind of lead with today, because how to balance those two worlds and keep resilience within so that we can shine bright and overcome even when life is knocking us down. That is the secret sauce as an entrepreneur to be able to get to the top of the mountain of success, as you call it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a powerful way to start this conversation out. And Haley, I want to thank you once again for bringing the right kind of energy to this conversation. I believe when we were throwing around some show topics, I wanted to talk about resiliency because we get beat down so much as people in life, as human beings. Forget about us being entrepreneurs or you having to work a 9 to 5 right now. Just as human beings, life itself is very difficult, and you have to keep getting up over and over and over again. So what I want to discuss on this particular topic is how you do that and still able to forge ahead, move forward with your goals, and stay in what I call attack mode. If you're going to be resilient, you have to stay in attack mode. So I'll let you lead the line of questioning and we can get it on.
I think attack mode is definitely the space everybody needs to stay in. So my first question would be around what are specific traits that you've taken on yourself to kind of help you as a warrior out in the field throughout your career, because I know it's consistently evolving, but obstacles never stop flowing into your vortex. So how have you learned how to kind of keep your armor and learn how to build upon it?
Well, I believe that I don't care who you are, what level you're on, you must have the first character trait you must have is you have to keep a big chip on your shoulder, right? It's going to be somebody has always held you back. It's going to be a thing that's trying to hold you back. So if you keep that proverbial chip on your shoulder, there's always something that you're going to say, you know what? I need to be resilient and overcome this thing because I'm going to stick it to that person or that thing that's been holding me back, those people, those forces. It's always something. And the first character trait I think about is what's going to make you rise to the occasion? Is it somebody telling you can't do it? Are there doubters? Are there haters? Are there voices in your head? Are there people in your family and your circle of influence have always, every time you wanted to come up with something to say, hey, I want to start that business. I'm going to get a record deal. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do this thing that I want to do. I have this passion that's deep down inside of me. How many times did I do that when I said, oh, I'm going to author my first book? My friends at the time, notice I said at the time because I had to get away from people that were thinking like that. They said, well, why do you want to write books? People aren't buying books anymore. This is before Amazon came along. I said, that's not true. People are always going to buy books. I have something I want to say. I want to write a book. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with with just you agreeing with yourself that you have this thing that you need to do. You have these goals you want to accomplish, Haley. You have this dream you want to live. You have this passion. You have this taste in your mouth. You have to go get it, right? So if you don't keep the chip on your shoulder, guess what, everybody listening to this? You don't need to go to someone else and ask them for permission to live your dream. So the first characteristic trait I look for is, what is the thing that is making you rise to the occasion or not? And typically a chip on your shoulder. Sometimes you're the smallest person in your family. That's why you got a chip on your shoulder. You have a complex of people always looking at you like you're less than. You always have someone telling you that you cannot do it. I try to outwork the chips on my shoulder every single day. I'm going to prove them wrong, like I've been doing my whole entire life. But Haley, let me make this clear. I never had to go to anyone and ask for permission to do that thing that I've had inside of me. That is the chip that I keep on my shoulder at all times. And you better maintain that edge, because the jungle that we live in as entrepreneurs, this is for the wolves and the sharks. And if you aren't prepared to survive, then you can forget about being resilient.
Oh, yes. The wolves and the sharks. And I think it's really important to make sure you know like who you are and who your true pack is, because those are the people who will really have your back. And that's what you need in order to really thrive out here, because we are out in the wild out here in this entrepreneur world.
Yep.
And you got to have people who understand what the battles are so that you can lean into that and also carry that strength on your shoulders, so that in those moments, you know that you have a reason why that serves deeper than beyond anything maybe even anybody else can understand. And oftentimes that's what really matters, and it's the guiding light, the backbone. And that is what resilience is all about. Resilience is the backbone. So moving from that, I wonder, maybe it's yourself or it's somebody else, is there anybody that's ever overcome some type of extremely difficult challenge that seemed it seemed like they could not rise above it, but they were able to find the way through even when it felt like rock bottom?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's easy to start out with me. So I'll come back to me, because that is the greatest reference point that we all have. We have our highs, we have our lows. And what I always tell people, everyone has a story, but it's the journey that makes us very unique. It's the differentiator in the marketplace that makes brand KTR stick out above everybody else, right? But there are a lot of great examples of people who have overcome insurmountable odds. Haley, that's another important factor in the trait. Number one is having a chip on your shoulder, and then the ability to overcome the insurmountable odds when you know damn well that it doesn't look good that you're going to make it at all. See, this is what we face every single day as human beings. Life is always going to be difficult. See, if you're looking for it to be easy, and you're looking for the easy way out, that's why most people don't develop a skill. Resiliency, Haley, is a skill. It's a skill to constantly overcome every single day. When life is just beating you down, you're taking a beating every single day. Yet and still, as long as you can draw breath in your body, you're able to keep moving forward. So you have to have a goal that's bigger than yourself. If you're going to make it about you all the time, then you're not going to be able to endure this marathon called resiliency. You can't just make it about what you want to accomplish. You have to say, you know what, my skill set, my goals, my energy, my passion, my vision is for the greater benefit of mankind, of the human race. We got to get away from classism and racism and sexism. We're all in it together. And if we're going to be in it together, your individual gifts and the strength that you display to overcome those things, that's how other people live vicariously through you. And that's how other people get inspired by the moves that you make. Because guess what? Not everybody sitting on the sideline has the strength. That's why some people are fans and some people are players. Players are on the field playing the game. They're getting bones broke. They're getting their nose pushed in, especially in football, which is a very violent sport. But you take baseball, you take soccer, any type of athletics, there's casualties of war. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get physically beat down. You're going to get injured. You pop your Achilles. It takes a year to bounce back from an Achilles injury. Well, how many Achilles injuries have you had in your young life, Haley? That's the equivalent of having to be resilient to come back from an injury over and over and over again. Athletes go through this all the time. Oh, I sprained my toe. They did a body composition on Allen Iverson. They had a silhouette of his entire body, right? And then every single bone on his body, it was an arrow pointing to something that has been broken, surgically repaired, damaged, from head to toe. He's had something wrong with him in his entire career.
Oh my.
Kobe Bryant was quoted as saying, we all should be thankful that Allen Iverson was not 6'4" or 6'5", because he would have been the greatest player of all time. He was just that athletic at like 6 feet or 6'1". So he developed the ability to become resilient after all those injuries. LeBron James is on his 21st season playing basketball. LeBron spends $2 million a year on his body. We constantly get hurt. We constantly get beat up. But the real fighter in you is always going to get up, no matter how damaged and hurt you are, Haley. So I can go to YouTube and pull up countless stories of entrepreneurs. But here is the thing, and I'll let you move on to the next question. Here's the thing that all of the entrepreneurs have in common. If you look at all of their stories, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Alex Ramosi, you can go, or Dan Locke, you go on and on and on. All of them have the same thing in common, is that they knew that they had something huge that they wanted to work on, and they were willing to pay the ultimate price by any means necessary. And they would not let it go, Haley. They wouldn't give up. So no matter how many times they got punched in the face, kicked in the balls, got their teeth kicked in, they say, you know what? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? I'm just going to keep going and going and going. Eventually, it does get easier when you have to fight and you don't give up and you don't quit. Amazing things can happen if you just keep pushing through.
So much insight from that, especially touching upon so many amazing leaders that every person can look up to. And these are all people that put in the reps. They really did. They had to all get punched in the face a few times. Yep. And I love that because it shows the lack of fear you can have, because you just have to drop the fear, know that you need to put in the repetitions, perhaps go through some pain, and you can rise to the other side. And I kind of took note out of what you were saying, that like people can become damaged goods during the process of your career, and in your mind, it's how you treat yourself. Because if you still want to invest in yourself and you know you have more to give, even though you've been hurt, you can do it. And there's athletes that have done so. And I think the athletic world really reflects the business world as well, because we're all pushing through something that's physically going at us and also mentally going at us. And that happens to players on the field as well.
You're asking yourself to do the impossible, is what you just said. An athlete is asking themselves to bend their body, push their body to limits that is not normal. That is why they get hurt. And when they do get injured, that sometimes is catastrophic. It's career ending, because you're asking your body and your mind and everything to do things and go above what is normal. And that's why fans are in awe when they see an athlete jump 30 feet in the air and dunk the basketball, or they see somebody hit a career-long grand slam home run in the biggest game of his life. You know, Brett Favre threw for a career high yardage on the day that his father died. You know where you got to be emotionally to do something like that? He did something that was impossible, but he got in the zone and he was able to push himself. And that's what I recommend that everybody does, because you're going to get hurt, battered, and bruised. You have to be able to have a high threshold for pain. The more skill you develop, the less pain you're going to feel.
Yes, absolutely. We all need to find the way to mastery within whatever field we're in, finding the skills so that we can just stay in track no matter what comes our way.
Yep.
I wanted to ask it, because the business world reflects athletic world so much. I like things are constantly happening on the field. So things in business are constantly coming at you, and you have to be able to adapt quickly in situations. So how do you think that a new entrepreneur needs to prep their mindset in order to be able to adapt to whatever is coming onto their pathway?
You're asking me, how does a new entrepreneur adapt to what's coming along on their pathway? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a really good, number one, it's a good question. Number two, I like the perspective, because think about it. You're on this path, right, called life. And you have this idea in your head called entrepreneurship. I'm going to start a business. However that idea gets in your head, Haley, it just gets in your head and you can't let it go. So now, as you are setting your GPS and you set your course, you know where you ultimately want to go. But then there's roadblocks, there's detours, there's a road closed sign ahead. There's a little guy with the construction sign that says, stop. You can't go this way. You have to go that way. This is a constant, nonstop, everyday battle. Or you have to call in the fire department and all you're doing is putting out fires. Non-stop. So if you're out there, if you have a dream of being an entrepreneur, if you're going to take that route, there's going to be some serious side effects that you're going to suffer when you're on the path to greatness. Don't expect for it to be easy. Expect for the road to be bumpy, experience potholes. You're going to get a flat tire, a blown engine. You're going to run out of gas. So the bottom line is, choose your vehicle wisely. And no matter what, I don't care if you have the most broke down piece of transportation as possible. The goal is to make it to your destination. It's going to take you a while to get there, but the bottom line is you need to make sure that you have a piece of transportation that is reliable. So another character trait that I look for resiliency is, to be resilient means you need to be reliable. It means you need to show up. You need to show up where you need to be, and you need to put in the effort. Haley, do you realize the people that have, it's not who's the most talented, it's who puts in the most effort. Talent you do need. Talent is in the area of skill. You need to have talent and skill, but guess what? That has nothing to do with effort. Do you know how many people that I know personally, and I'm not the only one. You can go to every hood in the world, and there is somebody in there that could tell you a story. Somebody will bust Michael Jordan's ass before Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. Somebody from every hood, somebody from my neighborhood, we had a Michael Jordan in our neighborhood. But guess what? He had the talent, he had the skill, but he didn't want to put the effort in the classroom. And this is the reason why the people that want to put the effort in, they start to get separated from the ones that have talent and the skill. See, in the world of athletics, you only have a shelf life when you're young. That's why it's always a young man or young woman's game. When you get older, typically an athlete, They force you to retire because you physically cannot perform anymore. But your mind can keep expanding. Your mindset and your cognitive brain function and your sharpness, your quickness, your mental agility, that's what allows you to go the long haul. That's what allows you to wake up every single day and say, you know what? I'm built for this shit. Come on, let's go. I'm not looking for it to be easy. I eat adversity for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Come on, you got some more for me? Let's go.
Yes, that's a signal to the universe and to God that you can handle it, and
Yes.
therefore the opportunities that come your way are also more in line with what you want, and your capability to handle the opportunity improves. And that's really where the statement of like when preparation, or what is the what can you complete the statement? When preparation meets
These opportunities.
opportunity,
Yeah.
like magic happens from that, and dreams come true from that space. But if you didn't put in the time and effort to be a person of value when that opportunity meets you, it will fly by and it will not land and come together for you. And that
Absolutely.
is why our preparation behind the scenes is
Yep.
everything that matters, and people don't see that either.
Yep. You're right.
So I love the way that that kind of thought process can impact the younger generations as well, because it's just a pivotal time where anything is possible. We're in a technological renaissance almost. It's more possible than ever to create a business, whether it's online or in person. We have so many outlets. So our generation, with Generation Z and below is the Alpha generation, I think there's a lot of inspiration that can come to fulfill the minds of these people. But I think, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see future trends moving, and how do you think that younger people can take advantage of this technological wave to really leverage their businesses in the future?
Well, that's another great point that you're making. You have to be when it comes to resiliency and technology and AI, you have things are moving really, really fast. You have to be adaptable to fast change, rapid change. Haley, you and I, we talk frequently, and you know, some things that we put into place 2 weeks ago, we have a different system in place now, right? I needed to deploy human resources over here in this category, and now I had to redeploy those human resources over in another category. You have to be open to change, because when the technology is changing, that means it has not all the way been proven. It's so many new pieces of software that are popping up. These softwares are not these like the ones that are going to be there for the long haul are going to be the ones that rise to the top. The competitors, there's going to be a lot of space for competitors, but there's going to be 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. The one who's going to dominate, then it's going to be a second, then it's going to be a third-rate knockoff, and it's going to be a lot of other people getting the crumbs. A lot of other people are still going to be able to make crumbs, or make money from the crumbs, but it's going to be a dominant 1, 2, and 3. It typically always is. So I would say if you're young, you have grown up with technology, so you're more flexible and open to being able to utilize it on your smartphone, or take an app that will chop up video for you, or go on YouTube and be a part of their monetization program. There are ways. I mean, there are all, I mean, if you Google right now, you could say, what's the top 50 apps on your phone to make money? And it will literally give you a list of 50 apps, from DoorDash to Uber to Lyft to all these rideshare opportunities. It's all kinds of other Upwork, Fiverr. It's all kinds of ways to make money right now. You could never do that when I was coming up. So I believe that what gives them, young people, what I call the slight edge advantage, is your ability to access. Think about it. Here's the difference. When I was in the 8th grade, there was no internet. When I was in the 8th grade, if you wanted to get some information, you had to go to the public library to get that information. You had to do research. You had to pull up something on microfiche, and you had to put it on a screen, and you would just scroll through all this data and keep going through it, going through it, going through it, going through it. That's the old school way to do it. Now, an 8th grader right now can sign up for YouTube, create an account for free, get one video to go viral on TikTok. They sign up for the YouTube monetization program. Now they're pushing out content at scale because on all their downtime, they're not playing video games. They're taking, this is my career. They're not thinking about college. Is that wrong? No, they have a vision.
Yeah.
And by the time they get in the 9th or 10th grade, they have a presence now. They've been working in social media for a couple of years. They've been looking at all the videos. The videos are their college degree, and not dropping $100,000 for something that is not promising you a job. But that YouTube influencer in the 8th grade, he's in the 10th grade now, and he's making $250,000 a year, more money than his parents combined, and they work a 9-to-5 job. That is the reason why you must maintain agility. You must be able to think fast on your feet. You have to be open to new ideas, and you have to let this do the job for you. Your cell phone can literally turn you into a multimillionaire. I've seen it happen to me in Austin over the last 7 years. That never would have been possible if it wasn't for technology. That's what I would say to young people. If you have a vision, you have a dream, incorporate technology in it, and you can get there faster.
Oh, yes. It's so true that the access to knowledge right now of what you're saying, that increases the opportunity. So whereas in the past, if we are going back 20, 30, 40 years, people just had to create opportunities from what they had.
Yep.
So as time evolves, we're given so much more. The platform to create expands. And I think it is incredible how and I think it's kind of like a race to keep up almost. Like the more you can personally uncover of what knowledge exists on how to monetize through the online world,
Yep.
People are running, and if you aren't trying to run and find answers for yourself, then you're always going to stay at the starting line, and you're always going to feel left behind because people are running past the start, going to find spaces beyond the horizon, and it's so exciting. I think kind of off of that, just my last question is, since there are so many new entrepreneurs and startup businesses and people who are taking advantage of all the opportunities that exist for us right now, I think that people get lost in side of to step off of the field and take time to rest and recover, which is also important for our ability to play and operate well in life. So what are your tips on self-care and how to maintain wellness within your mind, body, soul spectrum?
Well, something that I've learned after being on the grind, like I'm tired of being on the grind, because it's a heavy price that you're going to have to pay. You're talking 12, 16, 18-hour days. You're talking about minimal sleep. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm at a stage in my life and my career where I don't have to do it anymore. I'm managing things differently. So it really comes down to management. So my self-care tips would be, you have to make yourself and your health your number one priority. As an entrepreneur, when you start out, you're not going to be able to do that. It's easier said than done. Oh, I'm gonna take care of myself. But we're so obsessed with being on the grind and the hustle and chasing money that we put ourselves, and I've done this for years, on the back burner. Your health and wellness and the weight, what you eat, it all pays you all pay a heavy price. We all pay a heavy price for it. Sleeping and snoring and being overweight, it disrupts your sleep. I used to only be able to sleep 2 to 4 hours a night. But thank God I've been able to find a company called Viome.com where it's a gut support, gut intelligence support. And what they've done is they test all your gut microbes, and you do a blood test and a stool test, and they literally put every single thing on a scale. Inflammation, what is your gut support, what's your energy level, they test it all, and they show you, is it from 0 to 100? And a couple of mine, because I'm fighting high blood pressure, was in the range of 40. So that tells me that I got a lot of work to do to push that bar over there closer to 100. So they give you the app. You have your superfoods of foods you're supposed to eat, foods you're absolutely supposed to avoid that your body just does not process, because all of us are different. And then it has some foods that you can eat every once in a while, just eating them, at a moderate pace, not overdoing it. Then you can also test. They have a cancer test. They have a test to do a swab for your mouth. I mean, all kinds of tests that they have. Why wouldn't I want to do that at this stage in the game? I need to be able to monitor what's going on inside of me so I can be running at an optimal level. And if you look at the trend that's going on with people who are generating wealth, who are stepping into their first time being a millionaire, who are going from making hundreds of $1,000,000 to making billions. If you look at what Grant Cardone is doing with the 10X Health Challenge, and the doctor that's working with him, or his partner that's working with him, they're taking this thing to a whole nother level. What they're doing is they're attacking disease at a cellular level. So I got in on that as well, because when my business partner recommends certain things to me, it gets my attention. So now I'm sleeping better. I sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, right? I'm not saying I sleep all the way through. I'm telling you that I'm sleeping better because there's something inside. Oh, they also give you a customized powder packet that you take in the morning, and then you take 8 supplements customized for your body. I can't tell you, it not only improves your digestion, it's got my GERD, gastrointestinal disease that I had under control. It changed my life. So my tips are massage chair, not have to work as hard anymore. Stop working so much, work less and make more money. The only way you're going to do that is put systems into place like automation. Then you got to decide every single morning I wake up, I'm going to take an hour to myself and I'm going to exercise. What I do have to start incorporating is toning exercises, because I just haven't been doing it. I haven't made it a habit. I have a total gym in my house, but I don't use it. So now I have to start using it. So I'm not telling you I got it all figured out, but I'm telling you right now that over the last 6 months alone, this has been the toughest year in business, but it's also been my most explosive year of growth. And what I've learned is I have to start making myself the number one priority, my health and wellness, finally get my blood pressure under control, lose the 40 or 50 pounds that I need to lose, and make that my number one priority when I wake up every day. And everything else is going to fall into place, because I have put in 40 years as an entrepreneur. I have put the effort and the time in to deserve a seat at the table to get these hundreds of millions of dollars. And that is the next stage for me and Auston right now, is the wave of new level security, new level financial independence, new level, whatever you want to call it, like many of our mentors are already experiencing right now. So I would say to anybody, start where you are. You got to grind, and it's going to be difficult in the beginning, but it's not supposed to be that difficult for the rest of your career. You have to pick and choose when you're going to get off that grind train, when you're going to get off of that, and you're going to start saying, I want nothing but peace, tranquility. I want my happiness. I want to be fulfilled. I want all the things that come along with not being stressed out all the time. And money and things and pleasure spikes is not going to be the only thing that's going to do it for you. What's going to do it for you, remember, the long haul is about you having a long-term plan for your overall well-being. And if that means I have to take less money in order for me to be healthier, I'm willing to take less money. Because how much is enough, Haley, is what I'm really asking you. How much is enough? And when you've been beat up and you've been brutalized and whatever you've been going through in your life, and anybody listening to this right now, however hard it's been for you, haven't you had enough of that? Don't you want to try something different? And the only guarantee that you have when you wake up every day is the guarantee that you're going to make with yourself. So be resilient and don't ever give up and stay focused on your goals and dreams. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be worth it. And the only way you can get to the pot of gold is by taking that first step. And on that rainbow pathway, there will be obstacles, but the way that we respond to them, it's super key. So just to kind of recap of what you said and my thoughts when you were kind of explaining that all is that it's really all a give and take. Like every moment, once you decide that that is the pathway you want to go down, there is always going to be these scales that shift back and forth between levels of difficulty on the pathway, things that are weighing us down at home, like things. Life will always have a new curveball coming at you, but if you're able to take the time to create rest, create the health, and also the strategy, that is something we can do in our downtime. So winners are really using their rest to think about how they're going to make the most of their next time out in the grind, in the hustle. And that is what makes the difference. And when you add that little spice into the recipe of life, then it's like a little bit of a superpower, because what it adds to you is more of that resilience factor, and you're able to respond to scenarios with more confidence and more vigor and activation. And that's how people level up, whether it's you're going from the level of like how to hit your first $10,000 month, and then moving forward to 20, 30, 40 people who do 100,000, a million a month. Like, the levels always increase, and people's inspiration for what they can handle increase as well. So that's the beauty of life, is that our imaginations don't quit either. If you keep your body, your mind, body, and soul wellness all together, meshed in alignment with one another, our imaginations can continue to be vivid forever and lead the way. So that's how we create those chapters of our lives. And so I love the chapter that you're in with your life right now. And it's a different book or volume number than I'm in. And yet we are both in our lanes, like experiencing the bliss and synchronicities of what business can offer. And that's the beauty of the relationships and who you meet, the opportunities it creates, and everything that can blossom from that. So I just want to really tell anybody that's interested in starting on the pathway that they should, and you will find the team and all the people that you need to make it to the pot of gold at the end. And it's all about your mindset.
Correct. Absolutely. That is absolutely what resiliency is all about. It's about attracting what you want into your life, people who you want to go with you for the long haul, that's going to support you, that's going to uplift you, that don't always agree with you, but share the same passion and the same visions, and you put your energy into that, because we all need each other. Like, if you want to be part of a team, everyone has to play their role. And when you know what your role is, it is a vital part of the team, and everyone feels appreciated. It's collaboration, there's inclusion, it's all kinds of diversity going on. And that's how you get there. And you ultimately get to your destination. You get there by the help of other people, but it all starts with you and your mindset. And if you're going to have the mindset of resiliency, you have got to understand that you cannot ask for the game to become easier. You have got to increase your level of skill. And as an entrepreneur, it's a prerequisite that you study and learn from the game of life every single day. There is not a day that goes by where I don't get countless lesson after lesson after lesson. If you're growing, that means that you're getting the lessons. That means you're studying the game. That means you're doing extra research. Do you know what I spend most of my time on right now? I spend most of my time on doing research. I spend most of my time on creating systems and learning systems and implementing those systems and delegating now, because that's the stage that I'm at. I don't have to put my hands in every single thing. I don't want to touch every single thing. That's the reason why most people don't have any time as an entrepreneur, because they have to do everything. When you make it to a point, when your revenue becomes stronger, where you start putting people that you trust into play, now it's not just about you. It's about you allowing someone else to grow because of your overflow. And when you get there, that is literally a liberating feeling, and it feels great. Because Haley, let's face it, you're not a real resilient leader if you're not teaching other people how to do what you do. And if they can't earn some revenue off of what you do, then that means you're just being selfish and you want it all for yourself. And you didn't come here with it, and you're not going to leave here with it. So you might as well share it while we're here with the people that you care about most.
Amen. That's so good. And I think I want to rest on that point, because if we're all coming from the space of value of wanting to share because we truly care, that is the resonating frequency that is what attracts like a magnet to you. So you could be on a space going towards a pathway where you feel that you are alone and that nobody's joining you and that you have to start all by yourself, all brand new. And I just want to share that there's confidence in that space, because it is all about your mindset. And if you step forward knowing that you are believing, you got that chip on your shoulder like we were talking about at the beginning, then you don't need anybody else's permission to walk down that pathway. And you don't need permission to find what's meant for you down that pathway, because you're going to go and get it. And there's things that are aligned for you. And the more that you focus and really get clear, crystal clear in your mind of what you really want to find when you go down that pathway, oftentimes you'll match up with something that is just close enough to what you imagined, and it starts to really unfold in your reality. And then all of a sudden you're not alone, and you built exactly what you were visioning in the first place. And that's the power of the visualization, keeping that light inside of yourself as a resilience factor. And the more we polish that light, it will get more bright. And that is what we share with the world. So
Haley, I know we're getting ready to wrap up this session on resiliency, but listen, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. What would you do when your reality starts to manifest? We have got to do a show on that. What are you going to do when your reality actually starts to manifest? In other words, you start believing, it starts materializing. Haley, now what are you going to do? What are you going to do when all the things you've ever asked for, it's happening to me right now? Everything that I've ever asked for, the money, the time freedom, every single thing I've ever asked for, it's a reality. What are you going to do when the reality starts to manifest? Please remind me about that so we can do a show.
Great point for next time. And I can't wait for our next episode, where we're going to dive right into what happens when you manifest what you're looking for in life. And thank you for today's episode. My name is Haley Sunshine, and I'm so happy to have shared this day with you, Kevin, or this moment with you, CEO of speakerfocus.com.
Yes, absolutely, Haley. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's end this session and then we're going to log right back on, and we're going to do a training. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let me just end this so we have a separate clip and log right back in.